Imran Khan's lawyer, Barrister Salman Safdar, has denied the news of indictment against Imran Khan and Shah Mahmood Qureshi. Earlier, it was reported that both Imran Khan and Shah Mahmood Qureshi had been charged in the Cypher case. Addressing the judge, former Prime Minister Imran Khan had said that his crime was exposing national as well as the foreign establishment. His government was blamed after it was toppled. How was it possible that the one whose government fell was the one being accused? Pakistan's descent into a lawless, unconstitutional state continues. The Supreme Court suspended an earlier unanimous ruling by a 5-member bench and has allowed civilians to be tried in military courts. Pakistan's constitution clearly states that civilians cannot be tried in military courts. PTI responded to the decision of the larger bench of the Supreme Court regarding the trial of civilian population in military courts, calling, I quote, "The decision of the Supreme Court's larger bench on the trial of civilians in military courts is no less than judicial coup against the Constitution and a violation of fundamental human rights," end quote. The legal community, as well as human rights organizations across the country, have expressed grave concerns about the decision of the Supreme Court. Following yet another intelligence lapse in the deadliest attack on security forces this year, at least 23 Pakistan Army soldiers were martyred and more than 30 troops wounded after militants stormed a compound used by the military in Dera Ismail Khan's Daraban area of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Wall Street Journal's Saeed Shah reported that a squad of gunmen and suicide bombers attacked an army post in Dera Ismail Khan, quote, killing at least 23 soldiers in a wave of worsening terrorism that threatens efforts to prepare for an election and stabilize a fragile economy, end quote. Their services public relations, the Army's media wing said a group of 6 militants stormed a security post in the early hours of Tuesday in Daraban, but the attempt was foiled. Quote, "The resulting explosion caused the building to collapse, resulting in multiple casualties. All 6 militants were engaged and killed," end quote. Pakistan's leading newspaper, Dawn, reported that the assault was followed by blasts as militants rammed an explosive-laden vehicle into the gate and carried out a subsequent suicide bombing. Dawn further reported that the TJP claimed responsibility for the attack and also released a 2-minute video professing to show militants targeting security personnel with thermal scopes. Security officials, however, claimed that the video was not authentic. Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, along with Punjab, has been unconstitutionally under a caretaker government for over a year now, who are trying to delay elections, fearful of the popularity of former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. The 193-member United Nations General Assembly has voted overwhelmingly in favor of a resolution calling for a humanitarian ceasefire in war-torn Gaza. Tuesday's resolution passed with 153 countries voting in favor, 23 abstaining, and 10 countries voting against, including Israel and the United States. While the resolution is non-binding, according to Al Jazeera, it serves as an indicator of global opinion. The vote comes as international pressure builds on Israel to end its months-long assault on Gaza, where more than 18,000 Palestinians have been killed, majority of them women and children. More than 80% of Gaza's 2.3 million residents have also been displaced. Israel's envoy railed against calls for a ceasefire, calling the UN a moral stain on humanity. The administration of U.S. President Joe Biden has firmly supported Israel's military campaign, arguing that it must be allowed to dismantle Hamas. But as Israeli forces level entire neighborhoods, including schools and hospitals, the U.S. has found itself increasingly at odds with international opinion. In remarks on Tuesday, however, Biden sharpened his criticism of the U.S. ally, saying that Israel was losing international support due to indiscriminate bombing in Gaza. The U.S., which has strongly criticized Russia for similar actions in Ukraine, has been accused of employing a double standard on human rights. Quote, "With each step, the U.S. looks more isolated from the mainstream of UN opinion," end quote, Richard Gowan, the UN director at the International Crisis Group, an NGO, told Reuters.